So let's dive into something called Berry AI. They're making a pretty bold claim that they're building the one essential knowledge system that all AI agents are going to need. But what does that even mean? And, why should you care? Let's get into it. So when you think about what's holding AI back, what's the biggest roadblock we're facing? Is it just about making bigger and bigger models? Or, throwing more and more computing power at the problem? The real bottleneck, it might be something you haven't even thought about. Look, the core problem isn't a lack of data. I mean, we are practically drowning in it, right? We've got documents, images, videos, the whole shebang. The real challenge is figuring out how to weave all that raw information into a coherent web of knowledge that an AI can actually use to reason and make smart decisions. And that gets us to what the industry is calling AI's knowledge problem. We're building these incredibly powerful AI brains, but we're not really giving them a structured way to understand how the world fits together. It's truly the missing piece of the whole puzzle. Now, you might be thinking, hey, don't vector databases solve this? And it's a common thought. They're amazing for finding things that are similar, like products that look alike or text that has a similar vibe. But agents need way more than that. They need knowledge graphs to understand the actual connections between things, the ground truth. And here's the kicker. You absolutely need both to build AI applications you can actually rely on. Okay, so how are developers trying to solve this today? Well, the current do-it-yourself approach is, to put it nicely, a complete and total mess. Let's dig into why it's so broken. 40%. Just let that number sink in for a second. This single number represents a massive, and I mean massive, headache for developers all across the AI industry. But what does it actually stand for? And here it is, that 40%, it's pretty much pure wasted time. Almost half of a highly skilled AI developer's time isn't even spent on the cool AI model itself. Nope. It's spent just building and wrangling this insanely complex knowledge layer that the AI needs to function. And this is why so much time gets wasted. To build this knowledge layer, teams have to manually stitch together like 4 or 5 completely different systems. You've got a database over here, a search index here, a graph database, an annotation tool. The end result is what the source material perfectly calls a rat's nest of spaghetti code. It's fragile, it's unbelievably complex, and it's an absolute nightmare to try and scale up. So if the problem is a fragmented, tangled mess, then the solution has to be, unification, right? And this is exactly where Berry AI steps into the story. The core idea here is actually really simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Instead of that 4-part mess we just saw, Berry AI gives you one single scalable system that handles everything. The database, the search, the graph, the annotation, it's all in one place. It's designed to automatically build that knowledge graph for you from all your different data sources. And this quote from the source really just nails the whole vision. A system of record for your knowledge. Just think about that. It's like having a single authoritative source of truth for your AI agents. One place where all the knowledge is managed and made super easy to access. Okay, a unified system sounds fantastic in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? Let's pop the hood and see how this thing really ticks. The whole process really breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you just ingest all your data, and I mean all of it. Structured, unstructured, it just doesn't matter. Then, and this is the magic part, Berry AI automatically organizes it into a knowledge graph. No coding required. Next, and this is so important, you can bring in humans to curate and refine that knowledge to make sure it's accurate. And finally, your AI agents can tap into all this knowledge and reason with it through a simple API. And for those of you who really love the technical details, this slide gives you a great high-level look at the architecture. You can basically see the data flow from the bottom up, from ingestion, through the knowledge and semantic layers, up to the multi-index, and finally to the AI agents at the top who get to query this super rich, unified knowledge base. So let's make this a little more tangible. Imagine you want to build a personal fashion shopper AI. The source video shows that instead of spending months coding, you could get started by just typing in a prompt and pasting a URL to a fashion website. Berry AI just sucks in that data and automatically builds the first version of the knowledge graph. It's all about making that starting point ridiculously simple. All right, so the theory is really compelling, but what about the results? Does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at the concrete advantages and what really makes this platform different. This chart is pretty stunning, honestly. It shows the results from a pilot project in healthcare AI.
The system they had before, 65% accuracy. Human experts, 92%. The Berry AI-powered system, it hit 93.6% accuracy. It didn't just beat the old system, it actually surpassed human-level performance. That is a serious proof point. So how do you get results like that? Well, it comes down to a few key things that set them apart. The system automatically builds the graph for you. It combines the power of AI with human oversight to keep things accurate. It's super flexible, so it can evolve as your data changes. You get unified search across everything, and the whole thing is built to scale to handle massive amounts of data. And what all those features mean for developers are 4 core benefits. You can build your AI applications way faster. The knowledge is governable, so you can trust it. It's flexible enough for new use cases, and it's super scalable to handle huge enterprise-level data. Okay, to wrap this all up, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Where does a system like Berry AI actually fit into this crazy fast-moving world of AI infrastructure? This comparison is super helpful. You've probably heard of companies like Scale AI, right? They're focused on labeling gigantic amounts of internet data, mostly for training models. Berry AI is playing a completely different game. It's focused on an enterprise's own internal data, all of it, across every format, with the goal of creating a knowledge layer for real-time reasoning and querying, not just the initial training. And that kind of leaves us with this one last thought. We spend so much time talking about AI models as these powerful new engines that are changing the world. But you know what? An engine is totally useless without roads to drive on. The argument here is that knowledge infrastructure, that well-managed, interconnected data, that's the road network. And the big question is, who is going to build it?